All right, welcome to Keep On Growing. I'm your host, Mike Fanduzzi, and tonight we've got Chris Barr, someone I just met online at a stream, Gary V stream, the Tea with Gary V in the morning. And Chris is in homesteading. Chris, you want to tell us a little bit about you and give us a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah, a little bit of the backstory. I guess for anyone who hasn't heard it already. Anyways, me and my wife used to live in the city, Salt Lake City, Utah, actually. And we both lived in or worked in the corporate world. I worked as a chemist, and my wife worked as a retail manager. And she worked nights, I worked days, and we barely saw each other. We were just grinding, basically paying other people's bills, and it was just tearing us down, and we weren't happy, and we wanted something different. And I kind of grew up in the country. So, and actually we grew up in the same city together, same small town actually. And it was a small town, and we grew up with animals, and my dad grew gardens and her parents grew gardens, and we were around that stuff real commonly when we were young, and we were like, we need to get out of this. So we started to make a 5-year plan to get away from the corporate life and come and do something like this and simplify our lives, where we were living for us and not living for someone else. And and in that process of making that 5-year plan, unfortunately my father passed away. And when he passed away, all the siblings sold his house, and that gave us a really small inheritance, but it was just enough to say, screw it, let's just do it now. So we pretty much took everything out in the yard that we didn't need, had a big ass yard sale, sold all the stuff that we didn't need to bring with us, and we bought a 36 RV and drove out to the country on blind faith. We didn't even own property when we left. We were just leasing and bouncing around until we found a chunk of property. And my wife's parents came down to visit at one point shortly after we had came here, and that was about 4.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they absolutely just fell in love with the valley too. And a few months after that, we found a 40-acre parcel that was for sale, and we all went in on it and got our 40 acres about 2 years ago, and here we are.
Cool. So you said it's that you're saying that's your wife's parents?
Yes, my wife's parents live here with us.
Cool. So you got a little family thing going on out there, and
yeah.
So you got one kid, or how many kids you got?
I have 2 kids. My daughter is 14, but she lives with her mother in Utah, and I get her on the weekends and the summers. And My wife and I have a son together, and he's 9 years old.
9. Cool. How's he doing out there?
He loves it. I'm actually kind of jealous that he gets to grow up like this.
Cool. You want to kind of explain, like, some people pop in here, like this is a gardening channel and that. Some people might not really know what goes into homesteading or what that encompasses. You want to kind of tell them, what that is and what y'all are doing there?
Right. So, in the most traditional sense, homesteading, like the pioneers did, they moved from the east out to the west, and they took a raw, undeveloped piece of land and built it up from nothing. And it had to be a completely self-sustaining lifestyle. So they had to grow crops and raise their animals, cut down trees to build their cabin, and things like that. So it's really just a simplified self-sustaining lifestyle is the general essence of homesteading.
Cool deal. So you're out there, you got an RV, and you moved out there. Did you have any kind of structure or building or home, or what's going on your land?
No, there was no structure. All we had on the property when we got it is there was a big acre fenced out piece, or a fenced off acre from the previous owner that he used as a garden. So he fenced it off with elk fencing, to keep the deer and elk out. And there was a well on the property. That's it. Cool. Yep. So are you going to be building your own house? Yeah, we will eventually be building a house. We're still trying to save up a little money for that and have a good chunk of it to start building before we start building. That way, we're not leaving certain things exposed during certain parts of the process.
Right. I understand. Cool. And I saw you've got animals already.
Yeah, we got 8 alpacas, 7 goats, Nigerian dwarf goats, 11 chickens, 4 rabbits, 3 cats, and we had 2 dogs, but one of my dogs about 10 days ago got ran over by one of my friends and he didn't make it.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a bummer. He was a good dog.
Oh, yeah. So now you've got, what do you have the alpacas for?
They're fiber. So primarily got them for their fiber. But about time that we got them, we realized that alpaca fiber wasn't worth a whole lot unless you turned it into a product. So now we're just working on trying to get a few more tools so we can process the fiber and make yarn and turn it into like rugs or sweaters. Like my wife's mother, she is a master crocheter and knitter. Like some of the stuff she does is amazing and phenomenal with stitch work. It's crazy. So I'm going to try to spin her some yarn so she can make things out of it.
Cool. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Just want to let me say, hey, let's see, Boyd Pex, Keely V. Hello, Retta came in. Everybody that's out there in the chat, Susan Dixon, appreciate you coming in. And anybody else that's out there, say hello, tell us where you're from. Appreciate y'all stopping in. If you're just coming in right now, this is Chris Barr. Him and his wife stopped their corporate life a few years ago. What did you say, 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Just about.
Got an RV, went out, bought 40 acres, and they're out there right now. And so what you're trying to do on YouTube is you're going to show your journey, because basically you're out there, you've got the RV, and now you're
from scratch.
Just right. Cool. So ground up everything, and you're going to share your journey with everybody. Like I said, successes and failures, whatever. Show you, like I said, I think one of your first videos were homesteading's hard.
It is. It's legit hard. I mean, I'm going to be 100% honest. There's probably about 100 times more failures than wins when you're homesteading.
Alpaca fiber is great for tying flies. Oh, cool.
Yes, I've actually seen some videos on that.
Did you? What kind of plants are you planning on growing?
Well, right now in the greenhouse, I have I've got broccoli, Brussels sprouts, 3 kinds of cabbage, some early starts on iceberg, arugula, corn salad, 5 or 6 different varieties of tomatoes, 5 or 6 different varieties of peppers, from sweet peppers to hot peppers. What else do I got in there? Got herbs, some fennel, marjoram, tarragon, parsley, chives, eggplant, something else, cauliflower, and probably something else that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. In the ground, growing right now, I've got peas, beets, more lettuce, radishes, salsify, and more stuff that I probably can't remember right now.
Wow.
Potatoes and onions, obviously, go-tos.
Right. Cool. TN Bushcracker, Tennessee Bushcrafter said they love their 100-acre homestead. That's pretty big.
Do they have a YouTube channel?
You have a YouTube channel? Probably TN Bushcrafter.
TN Bushcraft, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
100 acres is a chunk of land.
Yeah, it is. And if anybody wants to check out Chris, his channel's linked below too. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's my wife. She's actually telling people the links down in the description. What are your plans for the rabbits?
Rabbits are for meat. Honestly, it's the fastest dollar for dollar, pound for pound meat you can grow.
Yeah, usually homesteaders, that's one of the, like I said, one that breeds fast and grows fast. One other
Yeah,
thing
your
too, I heard,
30-day gestation.
yeah, and actually a little bit of the you can use part of their fertilizer. I think that then they say that like rabbits are that you don't have to let it sit as long as like chicken poop is
Oh no, you
like
can put it on. You can put it on fresh.
yeah. So that's what rabbits are good for. You know, in addition to
Same with the alpaca manure too,
oh really?
because they're semi-ruminants. So the
Mhm.
alpaca manure you can put on fresh as well.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, people love that fertilizer. I've sold some of it. I mean, 5-gallon bucket you can sell for $10, no problem.
Oh nice, nice. Let's see. I started a forest garden this year, and things I forage are in the wild. Awesome, cool. You doing any foraging out
Sweet.
there?
Unfortunately, because it's a pretty arid desert, there's
Mhm.
really not a whole lot of foraging going on out here. There's a few things, but there's really not much. I think we got some watercress on the creek that runs through the middle of our property, and that's about
Yeah,
it.
that's about it. There's now I saw your one of your other videos you were talking about. You were asking about you're having trouble growing grass. Have you had any other luck with that lately?
I actually do have some grass coming up now, but I've seeded it 4 times, so I would hope the spring rains would bring at least some patches of grass in.
Mm-hmm. What
I'm in
state are you in?
Colorado.
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 Oh, awesome. Well, heck, we might get a chance to see it at some point. We've got friends out in Denver had moved out there years ago, and they keep wanting us to come out there and visit.
I'm about 8 hours from Denver.
8 hours. Oh, okay. Good little haul. Let's see. Okay, you answered what state you're in. Meat rabbits are great for fertilizer. Okay, that's what we're talking. Coal manure. Yep, too hot for meat rabbits. Oh, they go sterile if they get too hot. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the summer months they go sterile, and it's pointless to try to breed them.
Yeah, I had no idea. Let's see.
We learn something new every day. I know I do.
Yeah, Colorado is where we might move to. Hey, you might be having some neighbors.
Awesome.
Cool deal. How's the weather out there right now?
I'm in a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 6:30 at night, so it's not too bad. I think it's probably about 62 degrees right now. 60 degrees,
nice.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got hot. We're up close to 90 here today.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's warmer than here.
Yeah. So you've got your greenhouse. You got all your stuff kind of growing. Now is that like just starts, or do you? How big is your greenhouse? Do you grow things like to maturity there, or are you going to plant like out in the garden?
No, I usually just use it to plant, but I think this year I'm gonna, because it's a 10 by 40, I believe. Yeah, 10 by 40 greenhouse. I think I'm gonna put in some big raised beds and try to keep some greens going through the winter with frost cloth.
Mm-hmm. Said, is your creek running year round?
Right. The creek does run year round. Most of the time it gets pumped off a lake that's way up in the mountain. But if it's a really, really, really dry season and we've gotten no rain or we didn't get much snow in the winter, the farmers will suck that lake dry pretty quick around here. But there's only been one time that we've seen it drop down to a trickle in the middle of the summer, so it still pretty much runs year round. But you got to have water shares on that ditch, and those people in that water group for that ditch, they're a cantankerous group of individuals. Man, they'll still pull a gun on you if they think you're taking too much water.
Really? So you can't have like a cistern or anything and get it all filled up, or like if it does dry up. Well, what do you do as far as water?
I guess that's just in. I guess that's I do have a big pump to pump off of it, but I guess that's just in the summer months from November 1st to April 1st is what they call free water. So anyone can pull off the ditch within reason to fill up their holding ponds.
Oh, okay. Let's
Yeah.
see. Crocheting around New Zealand said hello from New Zealand. I'm really into self-sufficiency. Cool.
Hello,
Chris's
crocheting around.
channels down below there. You hook up with them. Like I said, well, that's you guys are going to be totally self-sufficient out there, right? I mean, you're
Right. That's what we're shooting towards anyway.
how about like solar and everything? You got anything hooked up like that so far?
Yeah, we're total solar. We don't have city water, or well, there is no city water out here actually. So there's no city water, no city sewer. There is power, but the power company wanted like $10,000 just to drop a pole and stretch the line across the road. Wow. I was like, no, I'll just stick to solar. You can build a pretty fat solar package for 10 grand.
Yeah, yeah. And did you build your own house? I thought we already went over that. That you're saving up for that to get started on that project.
Yeah. Hopefully, in a couple of years, we'll start building.
Cool. Let's see, Keely. Let's see. Too much clay and rock here. We have well water, springs, and ponds.
Nice. Yeah, we got a lot of clay, a lot of sand.
Yeah. And Eric from Sacramento. Right now, how big's your trailer? He's got an RV. They got an RV. Stuck. There you go. Show us. And then you cruised around in the RV for a little while trying to find a place, right?
Yeah, it's a 36 foot Flying Dutchman.
Okay, cool.
It's small, but it works.
So you made a solar oven years ago. I nag everyone to have their own water tanks in their own cities. Yeah, that's cool.
It's good.
Okay, what type of building? So you're just all you have right now is just your RV and the greenhouse, right?
Right, and my wife's parents, my in-laws, they stay in RV just right over there, but they just got a shipping container and they're going to build a tiny house inside a shipping container. I think we're going to start construction on that here in probably a couple of weeks, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah, document everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've never built a house in a shipping container before, so I'm kind of excited for that. I've built houses, but I've never built one in a shipping container.
Oh, cool. That'd be a fun experiment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But document everything, even if you don't get a chance to edit it and put it out right then, at least you've got it, because you can't never go back. So make sure you at least get footage,
exactly.
even if you got to get like a portable hard drive to kind of store stuff on. Gypsum will break down your clay. Let's see, I used to live on clay.
She's 100% correct on that.
Chris,
I use a lot of gypsum out here.
Do you?
Yes. We have pretty high alkaline soil, and a lot of wells around here are pretty high in alkalinity. And there's a fair amount of clay, and the soil doesn't drain very well, and it's almost completely devoid of organic material. Really?
So you're gonna have a little tough time there.
Yeah, our first year here, when we tried to grow a garden, because I tried to build it up with compost and a little bit of gypsum, but it was still just so out of whack that almost nothing survived. Last year, we had a pretty decent year. If it wasn't for squash beetles, we would have had a better year. And I think this year, I think we're going to do really good this year because we've got almost 3 seasons of building the soil now, and it's getting better every time.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Let's see. Raymond was asking, when you do build, what type of house you like? They have like hop house or just regular traditional house, or what do you plan on building there?
We've gone back and forth on a lot of ideas. At one point, I wanted to do something with aircrete, but the cost to get even pallets of cement out here are just so expensive because we're 2.5 hours away from the nearest building supply store.
Wow.
So and then I was kind of looking into like SIP panels and things like that, and IFC blocks for foundation, that kind of thing. And that's kind of something more we're leaning towards. But I have another option too, and it depends on whether or not that happens. I would like to get a portable sawmill, like a Woodland Mills sawmill, and go up on the mountain and cut all my own lumber and do it that way too.
That'd be cool. Lots of work.
Yeah. Right. But that's all we do here is work, because that's all there is to do.
Says my wife's talking about some other guy turned wasteland into a lush water source on National Geographic.
That's cool.
Have you tried aquaponics with solar pumps? Have you tried any aquaponics?
I have not tried any aquaponics out here yet, just because of the space. Ultimately, like if I had an indoor space for it, I mean, I guess I could do it outside too, but I mean, when we got so much land, I don't know. It almost seems irrelevant to try to do aquaponics when you've got like a 1,500 square foot garden and room to expand in every direction.
Yeah. Shipping containers are awesome. Shade that shipping container. Yeah, it could get hot. You got to get that thing insulated too. It's like an oven, right?
Yeah, we're probably gonna do spray foam insulation inside it.
Yeah, that'd be best. Let's see, they said they have pre-built 16 by 40s. You can do a 2-story or bury it. Hey, so you've got all kinds of stuff to do. The different things. You probably looked up like hundreds of things on YouTube already too.
Yeah, I've looked at so many different things. We were even talking straw bale at one point.
Yeah, because you're a little more arid out there like us. We can't do anything. We're in Florida. Anything like that over here is going to just mold and everything really fast. 10K, that's not too bad.
Bushcrafter, where did you get a 12 by 40 for 10K? I would like some information on that one. If you could go to my YouTube and my email's in there on my about page and send me some info on it, I would be super appreciative.
Yeah. So you heard that, Tennessee Bushcrafter. You go his links down below, and then on his about page, he's got his email on there. Chris, what type of house are you thinking about? Tiny house, earth house, standard stick? I think you were talking about that. You're still.
What's that?
You're still up in air.
I was gonna say we've thought about all of the different possibilities. Right now, we're leaning more towards me milling my own lumber to build the house, or IFC block and SIP panels, just because they're super efficient, energy efficient.
Yeah. And the SIP panels you can put up like really quick.
Regardless of the design or how we build our house, I'm definitely going to do a geo air system for heating and cooling.
Cool. That'd be cool. There's going to be a lot of people want to watch. I mean, there's so many aspects that are going to go into this, and then you going through the process. I mean, you've got like years of like just, content to share with everyone.
Yeah. I mean, homesteading, it's your life. It's till I die. So they're probably going to be another, in the words of Gary Vee, another 50 years of content. Yeah.
So a guy who planted grasses and pulled the moisture out. Let's see, really dry, clumpy soil. Something new. Oh, cool. Something different.
Yeah. Got to get the grass to grow first, though.
Yeah. So that's what it said. So you got some growing. Like I said, I saw one. You're having a little tough time getting started, but you said you're about 3 years in now. Kind of working the soil.
Yeah, well, we're actually just shy of 3 seasons, but this will actually be our 2nd year on the property, or our 3rd year, I guess, because we moved onto the property in January of 2018.
SM Gamer. Let's see, guy in Australia teaches all about swales. So much to learn. Love it. Yeah, there's so much out there right now that's just cool. And just us being able to connect. I mean, even though you're homesteading, like and it's called Bar None Off Grid. That's the name of Chris' channel. You off grid, but you still have like your cell phone, solar power, and this is pretty cool. I mean, that you're out, way out, like 2.5 hours from like a Home Depot or anything, but you can get on
Right.
your phone and like connect with other people like this. You know, that's a pretty cool time we're living in.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I wouldn't even want to imagine what it would be like trying to live out here without the ability to communicate. I mean, I give kudos to the traditional pioneers that, you know, just loaded up their wagon and did it on blind faith. With, I mean, there were times those people wouldn't even see someone for months at a time, you know, let alone have someone to talk to.
Yeah, it's I mean, if you need to, like I said, unless you've got your phone too, you know, you're way out there and you need help or something. Like I said, back then in the old days, and you know, that was rough. Like I said, what you said, you know, hats off to them. They, you know, I can't even imagine that, but you know, they all did it.
Right.
He's in Colorado. He said he came. Chris said he came in late. Hopefully, Chris, just trying to catch up on the chat here real quick.
No, you're good. You're good.
Cool. Dwell Earth makes a nice machine to make blocks out of clay.
I've seen those. Make your own clay bricks.
Yeah, I've seen that, and kind of they like compress it, and then it like sits out. You let it sit out to dry and cure.
It pumps it out on their side, so you just move it along and it stacks them up so they can dry on their end. Nice.
Building earth ship. Those are pretty fascinating. I forgot what his name was, Mike something, or have you heard?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name either. I've read a lot of his information on earth ships, and you know, he's put out a lot of phenomenal information on how to build them.
I want an earth ship. Yeah. See, that's my wife. I'm gonna have to work on that. I used to watch on YouTube. I only watch one channel anymore. The rest went and became too commercialized. Yeah,
I've seen so many that go commercialized within like 6 months to a year if they just blow up, and it's like, it's really disappointing because it's no longer about the journey of what they're doing. It's about the sensationalism and them making money, and I find that, you know, really disheartening, because there were a lot of really, really good channels out there that, I mean, for lack of a better word, they just sold out. They stopped living the lifestyle and started living the YouTube lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it all the time. As soon as you can get a brand deal, as soon as, you know, everything just all of a sudden it's like a little switch turns, and then start worrying about what you're doing and making money. And yeah, it's real unfortunate. Right. Some of them. Compressed.
I mean, no offense to them or anything. I mean, we all still need money to live, but you know, I didn't move out here to try to be rich.
Yeah.
I moved out here to live this way, and that's the way I will always stay, because that's in my core. That's me.
Cool. Let's see. Elon Musk made a machine to make clay bricks using the Dwell Earth. Okay, cool thing. That's what we were talking about before. That block.
Cool. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Come over here and we can build mine together. She said,
I'd love to go to New Zealand.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm moving back inland after the virus thing has settled down to find better soil. Sand is no fun.
No, it's not.
Florida down here. We end up in Texas instead of Colorado, Oregon. I want an adobe house. Okay, that's my wife. Almost no need for heating and cooling with the bricks and made on site. Yeah, very concentrated. Yeah, very little is needed. Yeah, there's all kinds.
I've looked into a lot of adobe, and we've got some good clay deposits out here, but you'd have to wash it and clean it up because it's kind of gravelly clay. But in some aspects, that probably wouldn't be such a bad thing because it's already pre-aggregated.
Oh, yeah. Never know. You might get started. You might be, you know, cutting your own trees and timber and making a house. And, you know, you might make a shed or make a second building or outhouse or out of clay. And, you know, who knows, like I said, if you're going to be there for decades.
Right.
all kinds of things to experiment with.
Right, and I may just experiment with some of those techniques to build sheds and storage buildings and stuff like that, just to kind of tinker with it and see what comes out of it and see how long they last and, you know, how hard they are to build, you know, time-wise and things like that. So that's definitely something on the agenda for the future too.
Yeah. Or like a root cellar or something. I don't know if you're going to have anything like that, if you grow any things that you want to keep.
Yeah, we actually started growing a root cellar last fall that we need to finish this summer, so that'll be coming too. We're going to do an in-ground root cellar with earth bags, and then probably a spiral timbered ceiling, and then push all the soil back over top of it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. You guys provide tons of knowledge. You share on your experience of growing greens. Appreciate it. And thankful for the stuff we learn here. Hey, no problem. That's what we're all here for. Just like what Chris is doing, we're sharing what's going on, and hopefully it, you know, brings a little bit of value to people. I'm happy for that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to give you a compliment. You're doing some phenomenal things with hydroponics, man. It's just super impressive.
Oh, cool. Appreciate it. I had, you know, for years tried like traditional gardening. I'm kind of like you know, you get out there and you start, you know, and you're excited at first and put everything out and stuff starts growing, and then something will happen and or not turn out right. And I was doing that year after year, and I was on the road all the time, like from anywhere from 2 or 3 days up to 2 weeks. So, you know, I'd come back and the garden would be dead, or, you know, the irrigation would go off, or deer would come through. So I'd find different ways, you know, so we got testing like the hydroponics, got it up on a porch, and it started working. We grew that way for like 3 or 4 years before I even made like a YouTube video. And so I had a lot of experience, but I didn't have a good camera. I didn't, you know, I wasn't even thinking. It's like you guys probably weren't even thinking about being on YouTube when you know, first started all of this. So I didn't have pictures. I didn't document anything. I have some, you know, a crappy little camera that I had. I have some, you know, real bad pictures, but you know, that's about it. And now I'm looking back going, man, I wish that was like 5 years of, you know, that's what Gary Vee's always talking about, documenting, you know, the journey. That, you know, there was all kinds of stuff leading up to it. You know, and people ask you questions, and you're like, man, I wish I would have, you know, filmed that or did something. So yeah, document everything out there. Right.
You know, ultimately, I would love for my kids to be able to see, you know, how grandma and grandpa, you know, lived, and how our kids grew up, you know, and pass it on down through the generations, you know.
Exactly.
That's better than a photo album.
Yeah, that's. I mean, just think about that too. I mean, like your parents or grandparents, like what they had to like just record history or anything. And us, we're over there. You can pull something out of your pocket, your phone, and shoot. Some people are shooting like 4K video, you know, with their, you know, and this, you upload it to something, you know, that could be in here in perpetuity for decades to come. Who knows? Like I said, you know, great grandkids might be looking back at, you know, you and your wife starting, you know, your little homestead. You know, imagine if you could have watched your great grandparents, you know, just setting up, or the settlers when they were coming, if there was some way they could have recorded it, you know, that we're actually in that time where we have the possibility to do all that.
Right. It's kind of a phenomenal time we live in, aside from what's going on in the world anyway.
Yeah. So like, little good, little bad.
Yeah.
I like the rammed earth house. Yeah.
Move to the sunshine real quick.
Okay, no problem. Rammed earth's a little bit of work there too, ain't it?
What's that?
Rammed earth. I said that's a little bit of work.
Yeah, rammed earth is I mean, it's 100% free, but it's definitely probably the most physically demanding, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's just saying, yeah, here in Florida, we don't have so much choice. There's so much humidity.
Sorry about
Mike
that.
Keeps it simple. I just tested my first attempt at microgreens, paper towel.
Need to get into the sunshine.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Cool. That's awesome. He said he just grew some chia. Yeah, no problem. That's a real informal here. Like I said, we that's another thing, you know, like Gary Vee was talking about, you know, you know, get out there, document your journey, have some live streams. You might, you know, you could film, once in a while, have stuff like batch recorder when you get downtime, you can sit and edit, at night or whatever. If you can't, you can always jump on, like we were saying, just turn your camera on, go live, just talk with some people, catch up with your viewers. And if you want to, you can use StreamYard like this. There you're going to meet, as time goes on, you're going to meet a ton of other people who are either already homesteading or they're interested in it. And you could be having, different people on, just like this. You can have a weekly show. You can have so many people, that just want to come on and share the process of what y'all are going through.
Right. And it's all similar, but it's different for everyone, because regionally homesteading, like environmental factors make a difference. So like what is easy for me could be hard for someone else just because of the climate and weather they live in. So it's 100% circumstantial to the individual.
Exactly. That's the same thing with like this hydroponics. I get a lot of questions from people, but I'm like, and with the internet now, we're talking about people all over the world, are like trying it. So, everywhere we're at, you have different amounts of sunlight, different hours. You have different humidity. The water's different. There's so many different aspects that are variables. Even from us, just a couple hours away, it could be a varying different kind of environment. But same thing with what you're doing. That there's so many people be in there, and you share what you're doing, and it might help somebody else out, even though they're not like in the same environment, but you still going through the same kind of motions and everything too.
Exactly.
Let's see, Tennessee Bushcrafter. Yeah, started hydroponics. Awesome. Attempted for years, and that's what we're about here, Chris. Is I do things is just cheap and easy. Try to keep things simple so that everybody can give it a try. Because if you ever looked into like traditional hydroponics, you probably looked into all kinds of stuff. Looking on like YouTube and look stuff up.
Oh yeah, hydroponic kits are super expensive, and you start talking hydro arrow NFT systems, things like that. If you buy them commercially, it's ridiculous. That's why I kind of really like your little downspout system you came up with. I thought that was ingenious.
Cool. Appreciate it. I was just trying to find a easiest way. I wanted something like that my mom could just like use, and my mom's not going to go in and get pumps and aeration and check stuff with a meter, and so people like that would never get into it. So I want to Dr. Kratky, if you ever look him up, on my channel, I've got a video linking out to his channel, the kind of approaches he came up with, a method of growing without aeration or without pumps. And it's because he was from Hawaii, and they've got a lot of like isolated areas that are off grid, and produce out there is expensive. All the fruit, everything out there in Hawaii is expensive. So
I've heard that.
Grow their own. So he tried to do where it was off grid, so that people like way out, like in the volcanic areas and that don't have, can't grow anything. So simply that they could actually grow it. So
did I lose you?
Oh no, can you hear me? I can still hear you.
Sounds like it froze up.
Yeah, it looks like you froze.
Oh no.
I can hear you, but your face is frozen. Let me pop you out and back in real quick and see if that. Let's see, you're still there, Chris? Might be losing them, and I might get behind in the chat there, guys. If you have any other questions, just pop it back in, and we'll see if Chris gets back in here. Let me do that. Yeah, he just left the stream, so he might be popping right back in. So just give him a minute. Found your channel the other day, Mike, and binge watch. Awesome, appreciate that. And sold my TV years ago, and watching. Yeah, we got rid of cable and everything. Good night of fun. Awesome, appreciate that. Really appreciate that. And if you're popping in here and you're wondering like all the downspouts and everything, if you guys have ordered any, I'm working on them. They're all going out. It's just we went under isolation April 1st for like another 30 days. But I can still get out and get some supplies. But I spent those couple of days before the mandatory thing started, and I went out and sourced. So like all of the Home Depots and Lowe's, they might have like a couple downspouts here and a couple here. So I spent days like going all around trying to find all the supplies, pool noodles, boxes, and everything. And I've been getting all of that ready. So I've got, if you guys have ordered any, links down below, and that got the little buy one get one free sale going on. But everything's coming. It's just everything, with what's going on in the world and everything. It's just kind of a little bit slower. And but some people, when I print it up, your shipping label, it'll give you a notification, and most people have been getting it within a couple of days, unless it's like all the way from here to California. But most other places, it's like within a couple of days they get it. And somebody said they ordered Master Blend from Amazon, and it was supposed to take like weeks, and it actually came in already, and they were surprised because it was supposed to be like another couple of weeks. And yeah, Amazon actually puts notices on everything that all of their a majority of their attention is going to go towards all the essential stuff like groceries, medical, sanitizer, toilet paper, stuff like that. So that everything else might take a little while longer. And so when I ordered some things, it wasn't like the 2-day shipping, it was like 4 days or 6 days. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But they came like days early. I was really surprised, so they are staying on top of stuff. So if you order from Amazon, I haven't heard too many people say where, it's been like a long time. But they're pretty much still on top of their stuff too. Let's see. I went and stocked up. Yeah, I lost Chris there, so if he pops back in, I'll pop him back in. I don't know if I'll see if he.
You're staticky.
Am I staticky? Let me pop out. Guys, give me 1 minute and don't go anywhere. Here. How's that? Can everybody hear me now? Let me know how the sound is, guys, or is it still? My wife came in and said it was all staticky, so I popped out. How'd you like the little having technical difficulties? That's my little chihuahua. Here we go. Let me see if I can pop him back in. All right. Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I guess my internet didn't like me going into the sunshine to stay warm.
That's cool.
Cut away.
Yeah, no problem. Mine did that too. It was all static. I had to jump out and jump back in while you were out too.
Maybe it wasn't just me then, because it kept telling me server not found.
Yeah. I think there's StreamYard started out like nice and simple, and then they started adding features like this is a green screen, the little ticker at the bottom, all kinds of stuff. And then with what's going on and everybody at home, I think there's a lot more people on. So it could be all kinds of stuff going on with it.
Right. That's a bummer about StreamYard, though, doing stuff like that, because sometimes I find the motto less is more.
Yeah, that's what when they first started, and that's when they call it like their 3 pillars, like it's just like ease of use is one of them, and reliability.
Yeah.
They want these 3 things and so but once you get popular, everybody's like, oh, can you put on 9 people, or how Zoom used to be, like, or Google Hangouts, or can you, do this and do that, and so they're trying to accommodate different people, and who knows, maybe they'll have just a scaled down version, instead of trying to put everything into it, where some of us I'm running off a little Chromebook, and so I want to be able to use any other
a little Asus laptop, nothing special.
let's see, my internet's been going down since, before lockdown into my second week of lockdown now. Yeah, we're in our third week right now.
We're in
And I
our
guess
second.
you guys are just out. You watch the news and everything, if you can, you go into town to get supplies. Are they pretty strict over there or?
It's really not too bad out here because everyone's kind of self-isolated anyway.
Okay.
But when we do go into town, the next small town over is about a half hour away, and there's a really small grocery store that's more like the size of a convenience store. And everybody's still pretty calm in there and chill. Some people are a little weird and crazy with their masks and their gloves and damn near homemade hazmat suits, and the virus hasn't even been confirmed to be here. So
Yeah.
we still don't have toilet paper though.
You don't? That's just why.
No, the stores are empty.
We just started getting some in. If you're lucky and you show up, and they limit it to one a person. So if you show up on the day the truck comes in, what do you call it? We got another package. But it was like, that one day, the store stocked. We're up at, it was Dollar General right around the corner from me. We had a coupon for Saturday. So I said, well, I'll come in tomorrow morning and use the coupon. It's $5 off. And, I came home, there's all this news and that. I showed back up the next morning and it was like empty. Everything, like somebody pulled up with a truck. And I was like, what's going on? Yeah. So
almost the same scenario happened to me.
did it.
Yeah.
Just like overnight. Some guys were riding around here in trucks and that and loading up storage units and then trying to sell people, out of the storage unit. You know anything about, let's see, she says she's got a Carolina Reaper and it's growing every time it flowers, the flowers drop off.
I am not even familiar with the Carolina Reaper, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to look that up. So, it could be the nutrients a little bit off, or it could be like usually the peppers like the heat and that, but I'll look into that. Like tomatoes, after you get over, I forget exactly what temperature, in the 80s somewhere, that it doesn't set any fruit. It can flower all it wants and that, but you're never going to set any fruit.
Do you know it's specific sun time? Because I know some of them, they like full, strong sun and heat, but they can only take it for a certain amount of hours. So I found, like, with some varieties of peppers, at least for us out here, if you put up a piece of shade cloth where the sun will be passing by that time frame, say if it's like 8 hours and you have 10 hours of sunlight in your day or whatever, and then the sun starts to go down to that point, you start to shade it with that shade cloth, and it's solved a lot of issues for me with peppers before. Oh, good. That's good to know. I didn't know that. But that might be your problem too. So, yeah. Who was that? Sandy? Yeah, so give that a try, Sandy, or look into that. Let's see, I have an idea for planning a modular crack key tower. Okay, cool. I'd like to see that when you do it too. Keep me posted. Sounds like they aren't getting pollinated. Yeah, it could be. That's another point too.
Yeah, that's what we had. We moved. We were on a 300-acre farm. We were farmhands for like years, and that's what, if you look at some of my beginning videos, there's like a lake, and we're like on a lake. There was like a mobile home on a lake, and we lived on that for years. And we're farmhands when the landlords went down to the Keys. And so we were out there in the wild. That's where we had all the deer and possum and raccoons and all that, snakes, and just bees. I think the people across the street actually had a bee farm, and so we never had any problems. And then we got back here in the city.
That's awesome.
And they're in here like spraying for mosquitoes every week, and there's all kind of traffic and everything around us. So things that are pollinators and everything in here, like few and far between. We get some wasp and everything, but completely different than what we're used to from like a few years ago. Using a toothbrush to help. Yeah, you can use a toothbrush or electric toothbrush too, right? We're technically locked down, not in shelter in place. Yeah. think it's a joke.
I firmly agree.
Yep.
See, right now, like
Mhm.
all homesteaders, and probably more so than anyone, all the preppers in the world are just doing the Irish jig right now, saying "I told you so."
Oh yeah, yeah. That's fun as hell. They didn't have to run out and grab stuff and hoard anything, or it's like when people are doing that, they're like, I got my stuff here. Yeah, I'm set.
I already did it.
Yeah. Some peppers need more nitrogen. Okay, we'll have to look into that too.
Yeah, every variety is a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we do. Like I said, with mine, it's kind of like nice, easy, basic, because as you know, like all the plants, some need different nutrients, some need different amounts of sun. There's a whole bunch of things that can go into it. So we grow like fast growing, mature, like leafy greens. You get into tomatoes and peppers; those take a little bit more care in that. But we try to show people, they can come in and get their feet wet and have fun with it and enjoy it. Then move on up. If you want to get pumps and you want to get meters and moving all that, you can, or just have it to supplement your traditional garden. That's what we do too. We still have like soil. Soil is like great, awesome to grow in. So we still have that, but then this supplements it so that if we are on the road, if a couple of my containers break down and I still got the traditional garden, or something happens in the traditional garden, something eats that, then my other ones are up high, or so I've got stuff all around so that it's not like coming home and like everything's gone and you're like, oh, what happened?
Right. Yeah, I might have to look into like a little hydro setup, like one of the ones you got there, to put in the trailer just to grow greens inside the trailer in the winter.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. If you want, like I said, we can sit and talk, for a little while. If you just want, some ideas when y'all get ready to do something like that, be really, really cool.
Hey, for sure. I'm all about anything that makes life a little bit easier and grows fresh food on top of it. So
yeah, it's like I said, and I did it so it makes it really easy because we were gone all the time. So you're going to have your hands full working the land and building a house and chasing alpacas and breeding rabbits and everything. So if whatever you can do that's going to save you a little bit of time just to grow a little bit of greens for your sandwich or something, then just it's kind of like a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Right.
All right. A couple more, and I'm not going to keep you too long, Chris. We're shooting on about an hour here. Let's see, we can't even buy seeds.
Hey, I'm good, man. If we're in a flow, let's keep rolling.
Okay, cool.
If everyone else is cool with it, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Let's see, I told everyone I've hunted, camped, fished, backpacked, farmed all my life. Awesome. I've been prepping for this all my life. Cool deal.
Straight up. That's what I was telling someone today. Is they asked me, or they said something about all the skills that I'll gain from homesteading, and I told them no, I think it's the exact reverse of that. Like, all the skills I've learned through my whole life have led me into the abilities to be confident to do what we're doing now.
Right. That's, you get out there, it sounds fun, and there's some cool videos on YouTube and that, but like I said, one of your first ones says homesteading's not easy, whatever, but like I said, if you're prepared, so it's if you're going to do that, like you said, you're way out there, thank God, you at least got a little, connection with, something, but most of the time homesteading before, you're out on your own, and if you're not prepared, it's not really the place to kind of learn everything. I mean, you got to have some skills in your back pocket to, kind of
yeah,
especially with a family.
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
you gotta have something to start off and build off of. You can't. I'm gonna say, if you grew up in the city and lived the city life your whole life, and you've never built anything, grown anything, MacGyvered anything, it's probably not the best thing for you to just spontaneously go into.
Yeah, pick up your family and, hey, we're going out here and I'm going to figure this out.
Right.
collards are so tender in the water containers. I like to grow. Yeah, that's one thing with we grow collards. Lots of stuff we grow is to eat like just raw, fresh, either in a salad or in
Right.
smoothies. And so we'll
Mm-hmm.
grow like instead of trying to grow collards where they're big and they get tough, and then you got to sit there and cook them all day to down to something. We cook what they call now baby greens. It's so that they're just past the
Yep.
microgreen, and then it grows fast. You can eat it, harvest it, and keep your. Well, we'll talk about that later too. You know what succession planting is too, and you can keep
Yeah.
things coming right one behind the other. So
Yeah, I call it rotation planting, but
right, exactly, just like these little
or
containers,
succession planting.
right behind my head. If you have those planted at different stages, you can keep eating microgreens, but then you stick those into downspouts. If you harvest any, if you always have these going, then you just clean it out, put some nutrients in, and grab some of those and start over. Instead of then you're always a couple weeks ahead of the game.
No, I like the way that sounds. I've never thought of that. I kind of do. I guess I kind of do something similar in the soil, but where you have
Right.
a constant supply that you can plant to maturity for later while eating microgreens at the same time. That's a really good idea.
Cool. I'm fascinated about all the stuff you're doing. Like I said, I can't wait to you start keep on documenting and like I said, this is like watching something that's going to be on TV that it's like a series that's going to be on like for next so many years. That you're going to be following that story. Well,
If it gets to the level, I just hope it's something that people get something out of it. Whether it's entertainment or they learn something they didn't know before or something. I don't want to do this just to do it. I want people to gain some sort of personal value out of having watched it.
Right, exactly. I'm pretty sure they will. Growing sprouts and Kumara after winter. Let's see, my next thing to do. Sorry, Kumara. Okay, sweet potato for you. I eat them every night.
Sweet potatoes.
But yeah. Now, sweet potato is another thing. Lots of people over here didn't know that you can eat sweet potato leaves. It's kind of like spinach, and super easy to grow. Regular potato leaves are like poisonous, but a sweet potato leaf they eat over in the east, the Orient. That lots of cultures they put in soup. Over here they grow it like ornamental. They'll plant it out with you'll see all the landscaping in that. And plant sweet potatoes because it grows on a vine and it's really easy. And you'll see a lot of people like growing it, and they'll have all these vines and leaves. And when they go to harvest sweet potatoes, they like grab all of that, cut it all down, and take that to compost. Dig up the tubers. And you're like, wow, that was a lot of food they just dumped in the compost. They didn't know that you can actually eat sweet potato leaves.
Right. I actually didn't know that, so I learned something else tonight.
Cool.
Because I thought they were like regular potatoes.
Super easy to grow. And if you just get like some sweet potatoes from the store, let them sit out. They start growing. It's called a sweet potato slit. Like if you're just going to go sweet potatoes, you pop those off. So I know you probably know how to do that. Once those start growing, I mean, if that's growing and you wait, you don't want to go and harvest all the leaves. It needs the leaves to grow to provide food. Right. So, but while it's growing, you can always go out there and pick a handful of them, come in, toss it in your soup. You have like a hot bowl of soup, cut it up, drop it in there, and they'll kind of wilt, and you get you a little bit of greens.
Mm-hmm. What's the flavor like on those?
Pretty much like spinach. It's not as tender as spinach. Yeah. So it's kind of like a kind of bland.
It's like
take on. Yeah. So I use that as like, because right now you've got spinach growing, right? And I mean, your climate over there is a little bit better than like Florida here. It's real tough because we'll get, shoot up, it can be in the 70s or 60s or 70s one day, and like the next day be freaking 95. And spinach, this regular spinach, and that really doesn't like it. But, sweet potatoes, I pop those in and they'll just grow all over the damn place.
Yeah.
Hardest thing for me growing micro, baby, and hydrogreens is calculating ratio schedule. I always have food without a massive setup. Yeah, that just takes a little bit of work, knowing how much, you're growing and how much you're going to eat. And And then, yeah, I mean, at different times you stop eating, you know, you might start growing and then being excited and eat a lot of it. And then after a while, you might get tired of having like broccoli greens, broccoli greens, broccoli greens. And, you know, so you kind of have to taper off. So it takes a little bit of time to figure out, you know, what you're going to consume and how much you want to plant.
Right. Because it's definitely nice to have a mix of everything. Because if you get it out of rotation wrong, even in the soil, then you've got like, say 20 pounds of Swiss chard and you're still waiting another 6 weeks for your kale to come back up from the last planting. And then you're just eating Swiss chard for a month.
Yeah. And by then you're like, you know, don't show me another piece
No
of
more Swiss chard.
Also some sacrificial plants. Yeah, that's what we grow, sacrificial plants, because we're not, you know, we don't have any pesticide or anything to toss on. And sometimes we'll just grow extra plants and put those out farther, you know, and that kind of takes care of some of the bugs before they get to yours.
Right.
YouTube, but let's see.
Bugs don't like healthy plants, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. Little Buzz got the last three by Home Depot last weekend. Made a mess of plant. Cool. Nice. Yeah, you grabbed them. I think somebody around here has seen some videos and they're grabbing them because I'm going to places too, and there's like only 2 left here or 1 left here. I'm like, they're probably wondering what's going on because, you know, if you set up gutters on your house, you buy a bunch of gutters and you buy 1 downspout or 2 downspouts. And I'm going in there putting out all the downspouts, and then the gutters are selling, so they're doing their inventory and probably wondering what the hell's going on.
It's not quite as easy to modify and just a touch more expensive, but you can use the 4x4 and 6x6 PVC fence posts and modify those into hydro units.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Doing that. Those are a little bit more expensive. But
if you're in a pinch and we're talking doomsday SHTF scenario, I mean, $5 more is not a big deal.
Right, definitely. I've been watching ML Gardner. Yeah, that's a good channel.
Am I Gardner? Oh,
yeah. So you watch him?
Super knowledgeable.
Yeah, awesome guy. And if you want to know about microgreens, Chris, there's On the Grow is like this couple that just started, real great channel.
Yep.
And they do like all kind of tests and comparison and taste tests and super great channel. And this other guy, Pepe Fasos, I usually have him linked up here. You can find him or just search Pepe Fasos. He's in Australia, but he started selling microgreens, and now he's got like a whole farm and he's out there selling it to like at a market and farmers market and high-end chefs and all over the place. Cool. But real cool looking one. Come on,
I'd like to look into that. That'll kind of directly apply to growing fodder. I'd like to get into growing fodder for the animals for the winter.
Exactly. That was something else I was going to ask you about, you know, with all the animals out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got, have you seen like the hydroponic, the fodder systems?
I haven't.
They've got some set up. I'm not sure exactly what different crops, but you know, you buy the seeds in bulk, and they've got trays like your 10-20 trays, but they've got it where sprays at one end, kind of runs down the bottom, and they kind of drip into the one below them. So you kind of just
kind of like an NFT, a modified NFT setup.
Right. And then so you get chunks of fodder, you know, out of each one, like within 7 to 10 days, and the roots all grow together. So it just pulls out, and they just take that and toss it out. You know, they picks up like a big mat. Pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to look into for the animals, so they can have something fresh in the winter.
Yeah. And you're set up. I mean, you've got the greenhouse and all that set up already.
Right.
Cool. Got you another follower, Chris.
Oh, well, thank you. Welcome to the family. I'll have to do a video with my mother-in-law on some of her crocheting and knitting techniques. I think you might enjoy that. I'm sure a lot of people might enjoy that, actually.
Yeah, cool. Let's see, you know not to plant spinach with tomatoes. They both pull a lot of nitrogen and they will compete.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Let's
I keep
see
all my
that.
greens near tubers or root crops.
Planted together. Let's see to benefit each other. How the conditions fall. Yeah. Yeah. Not taking nutrients. Yeah, you just have to be careful with some of that. I'm sure you've looked at. There's, like I said, there's hundreds of little videos and everything about like companion plants and everything. Started square footing.
Yeah. I have a book called The Companion Planter.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's what I've read that one before too. I see
Yeah,
a
it's a
post
good
about
book.
fodder for goats. Yeah, the guy grows it on racks in the kitchen. Yeah, it comes out to about 6 cents a pound. So it's pretty cool, and it's just like we're talking about, like this, like rotating this out. You know, you have some growing. You know, you
Right.
go in every night and do a couple trays, move those down, and then you come out and you just have these mats you toss out, and like they go nuts over it.
Right. And everything I've read too, I think it's something like 5 times more nutrient dense than dried hay.
Yeah. And
So they
what do you got?
actually eat less of the fresh stuff than the dry stuff.
Nice. So, have you had horses before? How did the alpacas relate to like? I know the horses, they had to watch like how much they ate sometimes, and if they got too much sugars and all this kind of stuff that went on.
No, I've never had horses. I'm actually, I'm just gonna admit it. I'm kind of deathly afraid of horses. I got kicked in the ribs when I was 8 years old, and I have been terrified of them ever since. And they can smell the fear on me when I get close to a horse, and they just get all anxious. And then I have flashbacks of getting kicked when I was 8 years old. So I just avoid horses at all cost. But as far as the alpacas, they're actually pretty well self-regulating. They only eat as much as they need to eat. They're not overeaters. So you can just give them a bale of hay and they'll graze on it when they're hungry and they don't overeat.
Okay,
but
cool.
You do kind of have to watch what you do feed them because they can't really have high sugar or high protein. You want to keep their whatever they're eating, their protein content under about 16%.
Okay, so there is a little bit of maintenance there that you have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, they're similar to horses, but they're more self-regulating and a lot easier to deal with when it comes to food.
Right. The mat is great for chickens. Yeah, chickens love that stuff. You can build a raised bed with hardwood cloth over the top of the chicken to graze without taking the greens down to nothing.
Right. Yeah, another thing I did for my chickens today, I built a maggot bucket. So one of our chickens that got killed, well, it's probably almost 3 weeks now. When I gutted it out and all that, I left it out to rot and just put it in a bucket. And now it's just teeming with maggots and they're falling out of the holes in the buckets to feed the chickens.
Cool. Try to let the goats graze the garden and let the pigs plow it.
Nice.
We had I think about a dozen chickens for a while we were like farm hands out on that thing. My wife like misses them. They became like her pets instead of, they had eggs, but each one had like their little personality. You don't think like birds are birds, but like you have like a mean one and a sweet one. And yeah, every one of them, she had them all named. And I had a rooster. I raised him since he was like a chick. We didn't know there was like a full run, a straight run. We didn't know what all that stuff meant when we went to go buy chickens. So we got a bunch of roosters, one time too. And one that I raised, he loved me and he hated everyone else. If anybody came up to our property, he'd run up and like spur him. And my sister knocked her down to the ground. She was crying. She was calling me on the phone. She came up to our house, but me, he'd hop up on the back rail every morning and crow until I came out there. And hand fed on me, want me to come do that. But anybody else came up in our yard, even my wife, he'd chase her down in that. He was a mean little guy.
That's funny. Yeah, a lot of roosters are that way. They attach to one person and they hate everyone else.
Yeah. So many strange plants, polyculture. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. some people do that too. Like if you do like your compost, some people get a little excited because you're throwing all your stuff in it, and all of a sudden stuff starts popping up in the compost, and then they don't want to kill any plants. So they're like letting all this weird stuff grow that was there, and then it ends up like nothing really comes of it. But yeah, it's.
Right. I had a buddy do that one year. He just randomly threw seeds in the garden and said, "Whatever grows, grows."
Yeah. Did you get much out of it?
He actually didn't do too bad though. He got a bunch of different varieties of everything, and it worked surprisingly well. In all honesty, I was pretty shocked by it.
Cool. I might do. I've been over the years. I've got a bunch of like seeds just left over.
Yeah.
And, I might just then I'm not sure if they're like going to germinate or what. And, I've got new seeds. I was thinking of just toss them out there and see what pops up. Maybe thin them out.
See what happens.
Yeah. Companion planting. Yellow flowers, orange flowers. Yeah. Ooh, nasturtiums. Have you had nasturtiums?
Yes, nasturtiums.
Yeah.
Are a good one to keep away bugs.
Yeah.
Marigolds with your tomatoes.
Marigolds with tomatoes. And the nasturtiums, that keeps them away, and then you can also eat like the leaves, the flowers. You can eat all the stuff on a nasturtium.
Well, I don't know if people know this, but nasturtiums, the leaves of nasturtiums, the oil that they extract from the leaves is what they make pyrethine bug killer out of.
Oh wow! No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Somebody else got kicked by a horse too, Chris. And you're both named Chris. Two Chris's got kicked by a horse.
Must be the name, man.
Yeah. Let's see, got some other people in here. Thank you all for coming in.
I didn't help a horse give birth, so I haven't found that newfound respect for him yet. But kudos to you, brother, because I'm still deathly afraid of him.
We had when we were farmhands, I think it started out with like 7 horses. We had to take care of them, clean their feed, and feed them, and the whole 9 yards with them. So we took care of them for a couple of years.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that goes into horses. Pigs will give you a bunch of volunteer plants. Yeah. We feed them whole squash cucumbers, plantains, and all.
We want to get pigs, but we're not quite there yet. You kind of got to implement your animals with a very, specific strategy, because if you go too crazy too fast, then you'll just financially overwhelm yourself with the animals, and then you just got to get rid of something that you paid for, and it ends up costing you more money in the long run. So
exactly, that's what I was thinking of. But so yeah, it sounds like you're off to a good start. You got a couple alpacas. Do you use the goats and everything? You use anything for like milk?
We just gave birth, so they're just weaning their babies off now. So it's about time that we're going to start milking again.
Okay, cool.
So originally we got the goats because we were going to use them for meat, but after we assisted in the birth of the first set of babies we had, they were just too damn cute and had too much personality. I'm like, I don't think there's any possible way I could bring myself to butcher one of these.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I'm hungry enough, hell yeah, I'm going to eat one of those goats, but
yeah,
I'm not that hungry right now.
Chives and onions will mass tomatoes in as well. Okay, cool. That'd be good. Will that keep away, what the hell is it, the tomato hornworms? That's something that those buggers, you can, if you don't spot them when they're like small, like I said, we're gone for like days at a time. You can be gone a couple days, come back, and they're like, yeah.
We had hornworms bad out here last year because we had an unprecedented, like really wet spring, and it just spurred all kinds of pest life and plant life that we have never even experienced out here. They said it was like a 20-year storm or something, but we had hornworms, I'm not messing around, that were like 6 inches long and had a horn about 1 inch long on its ass. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, we had, when we had that too, our chickens, for some reason they'd eat 1 or 2, they'd mess with them, but it wasn't like people like, get your chickens and that, and some of them like tear them up and eat them. Our chickens like would eat one or play with one, but I was like, they're not helping anything.
Shadow.
I was terrified of our pig. Yeah, she would run at me and then flop down on her belly. She wants a big hug. Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, racehorses are no joke.
Okay, get down, Shadow.
Yeah, a lot of stuff too.
Down. No,
I've been stepped on, thrown off, and rolled off and bucked off a horse. Yeah, my wife grew up with like her uncle
Stop.
had horses, so
No.
she got bucked off
No.
of them and that. Nervous horses, yeah, you don't want them to be nervous. How about snakes? You got much snakes out there? My daughter.
We got a lot of bull snakes.
Mhm.
And we do have prairie rattlers. I've only seen one prairie rattler out here in 5 years, and it was the one that almost bit me, but I won. So he lost his head. He was in my garden coiled up by one of my drip lines, and he perfectly blended in with like the mulch in the soil, and I almost stepped on him, and he struck me 3 times, but
Oh wow.
fortunately did not get me.
Yeah,
Supposed to have the thorn worms.
worms. Keely, I've been bucked off and stepped on. Have one bite me. Yeah, horses will bite too.
Right. Cows will bite too.
Okay, I wonder if he's talking about like the chives and onions and that too. And he says will help with the hornworms too.
Okay.
Barr is getting famous after Gary's stream. It must be somebody that saw you over on Gary V's stream.
Yeah, I did not expect that out of Gary. I just wanted to know how to be comfortable in front of the camera when I'm solo. I mean, I know like when I interact with someone, I have no issues. It's just that one-on-one with the camera feels so awkward.
It does, especially like, if there's not much going on in the chat and you're just talking. I got to where like I talk too much. If I get on a subject, I'll like run my mouth and I'll lose track of the chat. And one time my first live streams and that, I was reading in the chat and talking, and I look back and I was like 20 or 30 minutes behind. My wife like came in and said, or something, people are like, they're gone. They're like, oh, he's never going to get to my question about these like 30 minutes back.
Right.
Our pigs were like puppies.
That's what I really do like about StreamYard is that you can put people's questions up so everyone can see. So it makes it so much easier to follow along. Yeah,
it does. And they make it the ease of use as far as you doing it yourself. It's just so much easier. There's a big learning curve with like OBS and everything, and this makes it so much easier. Okay, that's the poor guy. I've ridden an old nag twice. Screamed the first time like because of a tornado. Oh wow, came through and tipped over the tractor. Wow, ripped apart a huge barn, but the horse never moved. Wow, that's surprising. Usually a horse would get spooked. That I just sat there screaming. Right. That's scary.
Yeah, I probably would have been frozen like a deer in headlights too.
Yeah, I love goats.
Cool. I do too. Baby goats are adorable.
Oh, they're cool.
That's like
they got little personalities like different dogs in that too, or
oh, they do totally.
Did my first live the other day. It's not easy, but it was fun. Yeah, you get.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah, awesome. You'll get used to it, and like I said, people on here, this is the new like TV. Like when you're watching TV, you can't really interact with whoever you see on there. That's just it, But now, people were coming over to YouTube. It's interactive TV. Like if you're over there and they type something, you might answer them, especially like us where we don't have like Gary Vee has like people just flying by in the chat. There's no way you can, watch everyone. But like right now, if you go and you find small YouTubers, like us and that, you can interact with them. That's pretty cool. You're connecting. Like if you were on a show or something, I might never talk to you or whatever, but now I can watch what's going on. And if I got a question, it's like, hey, what are you doing there, Chris, or whatever. And, this interaction thing is just fantastic. And I think everyone knows they're not expecting like perfect out of it. Years go by, like 5-10 years or whatever, you might get a little better. And, but I think the rawness of everything is kind of cool.
Right. And I think context completely trumps quality. Like, it can be the shittiest, grainiest show you watch in your life, but if it's something that you're interested in watching, you could care less what the video looks like as long as you can hear it.
Right. And that's what I like about Gary Vee is like he's a practitioner, like what he talks about, and everyone, he's been telling everyone that, don't wait to try and get perfect. Go ahead and start document your journey and blah, blah, blah. And when this thing happened where we had to self-isolate and they had to do the same thing, then he couldn't have like D-Rock around. They couldn't do what they usually do. So on the fly, they had to figure something else or not communicate with people for a month. So they put together the show. And just like me and you were on here where you're like, your audio goes off, you got to hop in or out. They were testing Zoom and StreamYard. They were doing it on the fly, and it's still going on like that. But he's a practitioner of what he tells people, so that he's at a level where, their stuff looks like professional, but some people stress out, we're all going through this. So he says, just get it done. And because we're in there, we don't care what he looks like. If somebody drops off, it's just the knowledge that he's dropping, that we're looking for. So.
Yeah, and as far as like YouTubing, live streaming, blogging, whatever it is, the way I kind of look at it is if you're new and you're just starting out, it's no different than starting a new job or a hobby or something like that. Yeah, of course you're gonna suck at first because you don't know how to do it, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. Just like any skill or any trade, eventually, once you've done it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, you will get better at it. It's just plain and simple, practice makes perfect. Repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yep, exactly. Somebody said goes
for gardening too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I tell everyone, if you get, you might get one of these or go try it or save up your milk cartons and try it. You're going to have successes and failures. And then because we all live in different environments, don't give up, try it again. It took me years before I figured something out that worked for me. Now I'm sharing it with y'all, man. Right. Hopefully it'll take years, but it might not happen the first time out. Slow down.
You fail, apply the Edison method to it. You just found 10,000 ways to not do it.
Right, exactly. I also watch conspiracy theory channels. That could be kind of fun once in a while.
Yeah, go down a little rabbit hole once a month or something.
Yeah. She would sit on my lap and I would sing her songs. Aw, that's nice.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
My goats aren't that nice because we didn't bottle feed them, so they run from us.
They don't like come up and try to, like the little kid that's out there, run into them or anything. I've seen a couple little things like
no, they'll do that. They'll do that to my cats, though. If my cats go out there and start messing with the goats, the mamas will just run up and bash them and fling them into the air.
YouTube Live is awesome. Yeah, I'm loving YouTube. For like I said, as far as just like connecting and just being able to interact with people. I'm always awkward.
Right? No, it really is amazing.
Yeah, just give it a try, James. I've never planned on going live either. I started this other channel called the Creator Spotlight Show, and it was to help creators. That's why I said I might be able to help you, Chris. Is that we get together to help share stories and help each other out. Talk about our YouTube journeys and what works, what doesn't work. And I wasn't never supposed to be the one talking to me, and this other guy started, and he was supposed to be the one doing the live streams, and I was doing all the back end stuff, putting stuff together and setting up interviews and everything. And I kept waiting, and he was too busy and never did it. So I had to get things started. So I came on. I had never planned on live streaming. Like I said, I felt awkward. Everybody feels awkward at first, especially when you don't have a live stream like this, where you're like looking and you can talk to someone. If you're just like looking at a camera and there's nobody else there, that does get a little awkward sitting and trying to carry on a conversation. But after a while, you get used to it.
It definitely makes the difference to be able to see someone's face because you can read their emotion, their facial expressions. You can tell if they're being sarcastic or not. Because sometimes I'm real snarky and sarcastic, but if you don't know me and you can't see my face, then you would just think I was being an asshole.
Yeah. Back to context.
Right, right.
Drives me crazy how people think goats are grazers and don't realize they are browsers.
Yeah, they really are. Like people think like every goat will just eat any plant that you put in front of them. Hell no, I've got 1,000 weeds out here, and they only go for the most succulent, nutritious of all the plants. You know,
Yeah,
they'll eat the last.
yeah. I've learned to edit Yahoo and learned to rewrite the coding inside of YouTube and rotate. Oh, cool. And rotate my videos the right way around because some are sideways for some reason. Yeah, not bad for Nola. Yeah, there's a big learning curve to everything too once you get into editing. But you know what? We're all lucky because we're on YouTube, but there are also a bunch of instructional videos on YouTube for almost anything you need to do if you're like editing. And if you're using Adobe or Premiere Cut or Movie Maker or whatever the hell you're using, there's videos out there for something. You just got to Google it, look it up, search it, and you can learn how to do things. I mean, we're really living in a fortunate time to be doing stuff like this.
Oh, we got college degrees at our fingertips every day.
Yeah, exactly. What's the best part about living the farm lifestyle? I'm a city guy who would love to experience that one day. That one's for you, Chris.
Oh, that one's for me. The best part, I know I've gotten this question a lot in the past 36 hours, and for me, I think it's a couple of different things. The first and foremost is 100% freedom, because we're free to live how we want to live, free to live on our own schedules. We don't have to report to anyone. But then it comes back to controlling the quality of our food. Like anyone who's like conscious about their health and the food that they put into their body, they know like that even organic food from the grocery store isn't very nutrient dense. It really isn't. And when you grow it your own, the most natural way possible, in nutrient rich soil, like plants just taste different. Like tomatoes probably the most primary example, because you eat a tomato from the grocery store. That's why most people don't like tomatoes, because it just tastes like muddied down water, you know. But you get a ripe fresh tomato grown in organic soil or even nutrient rich hydroponics, you know, and it's got all the balanced nutrition it's supposed to have inside that tomato. There are so many complex flavors, your mouth doesn't even know how to understand it when you taste it for the first time.
Exactly. And then once you go eating that, if you don't have like a constant supply, like your tomatoes are gone for the season and you have to go to the store and get it, you're mad. It's not you're going to pay $2.99 or $3.99 or something a pound for that. And you get home and you're like, what is this?
Yeah, because it doesn't taste the same. It almost disgusts you to a certain respect.
Yeah. Relaxing while you're doing your gardening. Yep. Fresh, good, with no chemicals. Satisfaction doing everything yourself. Yep. That's basically what you're doing out there.
Pretty much. Nail on the head there.
Cool. Appreciate it, James. My wife said pigs bite too. Yep.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, let's see. Procreation and food are the only things on their mind.
Right.
One day my nanny made a really yummy Brunswick stew. Afterwards, feed the pig scraps. Asked her where the pig was. She didn't know what Brunswick stew was, so she grew out, went out on the farm, and the pig was gone. So.
Yeah, that sounds like me when I was 8 years old and I had a pet rabbit named Gizmo, and that same night we had chicken for dinner.
Oh.
I didn't know at the time that our rabbits, when I was growing up, were for food. I thought it was my pet. Right. And then all of a sudden, Gizmo's not there anymore. Yeah, Gizmo's gone and we're eating chicken.
That's why I'm growing leeks. $3 at the store. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the prices on some of this stuff. Man, basil, the hydroponics basil just grows like wild. And I harvested everything. You know, it's winter. I was going to clean everything up and show everybody how to start stuff from the ground up. So I harvested everything. Then my wife said, I want some basil. I'm like, everything's gone. So I went up the store, little package of a couple of ounces of it was like $4.99, and it was a couple sprigs of basil, and they were like brown and I was just really like, I'm like, nah, I can't do that. And after, like you said, when you grow it and it's just like all over, you're used to going out and just grabbing handfuls of, whatever you want.
Right.
When you get up to the store, yeah. So if everybody can do a little bit of this, like I said, you don't have to be a full-on gardener, kind of like what you're doing, but if they can have a little bit to kind of supplement their grocery bill, or I just hate buying the stuff and keep putting it in the refrigerator. It gets pushed to the back and then it ends up in the compost, and I feel like I'm throwing money in the compost pile. But you're green.
Right. You're growing. Buy something in the grocery store and it turns to mold in 3 days.
Yeah. So, if you you've got your lettuce, growing out there, like say you go out there, pick a little bit, put on your salad, and you don't have to harvest like everything at once. It's just an awesome thing. It's really empowering because it's like I said, there's only so many things you really need to live, like air, water, food, that are like necessities. And basically all of us we depend on somebody else for, most of our food, just like this thing that's happening right now. And people are like panicking and running and trying to grab things is because they're dependent on the grocery stores or the restaurants. Now the restaurants are like shut down and they have to go get their own food, and everybody's like panicking. I'm like, that we all should at least be able to provide at least a little bit for yourself. That's an empowering thing.
Right. That's kind of why I overplanted my garden this year, and I'm going to continue to overplant. So, because we've got a lot of elderly people in the valley, even though it's a really small valley. So I'm just trying to plan ahead just in case. So whatever excess that I produce, I can give to, some community neighbors that are a little bit older or whatnot, or can't make it to the grocery store or anything, and make sure that I have enough to give to those few people in excess of what we grow. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah. Crocheting Around New Zealand, she says she just started her channel. Cool deal. I'll check you out too. I remember my grandma, and she had passed away. She was my mom's mom, but she would sit around and she'd crochet, and she was so good at it, she wouldn't really be, she'd be watching TV.
Yeah. That's how my mother-in-law is.
Does she?
Literally, she can be having a conversation with you, staring you right in your eyes, and she's just loop stitching away.
Yeah, that's all. That's awesome. Now, my grandmother would be like, if she missed, like she'll go back and look and count, and if like way back however many rows she missed one, she would undo. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, going all the way back, and just for like that one, I was like, wow, it's like attention to detail.
Right. Hey, babe, can you do me a favor real quick? Will you close the window on the greenhouse and shut the door? Yeah, the drill's in the greenhouse. Thank you.
Anytime, like I said, Chris, all the connections I make, like I said, I'm connecting with you. Lots of things. If you see like YouTube, how it used to be is somebody would have like a guest come on, and it'd be like a one-time deal.
Yeah.
And I like natural. Yeah. Hey, and anytime she wants to be on too, like I said, you're welcome. Come back anytime. If your wife wants to be on and talk, glad to have everybody on here. But
right. Well, we all need to network more like this across everything, across every different style, whether it's like you gardening, me homesteading, those two are intertwined. It never hurts to network with different people and bring to light these different skills and crafts that people do, So exactly. I think more of this should happen across, community members without a doubt.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you can set stuff up too. I mean, like StreamYard, you can invite up to 5 other people. There can be 6 of you on the screen at one time. I mean, you could have somebody who's like homesteading, like building a house, or somebody's doing Adobe, or somebody's gardening, and you can have a panel on, so you can do it like weekly or something, and people come on, and then people are interested in homestead and can pop in and ask questions about different aspects and different things that are going on. There's so many things you can do with this. It's just like I said, it's mind-blowing to me what we can do.
And I like to do stuff like that too, and have guests, and maybe even have you on my show at some point once I, figure all the madness that's going on for me right now, and
Right.
do something where like some of the people watching, send them out a code and have them come on and ask a live question.
Exactly. That's what I try to do that like on my gardening channel once in a while, and I think people are
Yeah.
kind of warming up to it right off the bat. It was like, whoa, what do you mean I can be on there? So, but
Right.
you
A lot
put
of people, a
the
lot of people are camera shy, really camera
yeah
shy. My wife's camera shy. She clams up, you put a camera in front of her, even if she's interacting with someone, she's like, I don't know how to act.
yeah. There's you can also come on and like click the little camera icon off, and you can
Yeah.
come on with just audio too. So if you've got a couple of people, if
Yeah.
they want to come on, like ask you a question, so this is real versatile. You
Cool.
still
I didn't know that.
yeah. See, let's see if I just on there, you just put stop cam, and then my little icons on there and still talking. So that way, if you got
All
somebody
right.
that they're not don't want to be on video, or whatever.
Yeah. So you can do it radio station style.
Exactly. Yeah, just like that's
Yeah.
what like a call-in show. Yeah, radio call-in show.
Yeah. That's cool.
Skillshare. Cool. Yeah, you can learn a lot of stuff on
Yes.
Skillshare. Mizuno, okra, red vein sorrel, yeah, lamb's quarter, all different things.
Yeah.
I grew sorrel too. That was a
He was
little
asking
bit.
about. He was asking about foraging earlier, and I saw something he said about mushrooms. Actually, we do have a lot of mushrooms up on the mountain. We have a lot of wild morels that grow up there.
Oh wow.
You got to catch them at the right time in the season, but
Yeah.
you catch it just right, you can get 10, 15 pounds of morels in like a week.
Oh man. I've seen some people like actually foraging mushrooms and making like a ton of money at it too.
Yeah, if you get the right ones, morels and chanterelles are the big ones. Because morels are really, really difficult to grow in like a sterile lab type environment. It can be done, but it's really difficult. You can propagate them outside, and they do far better in the wild, and that's really how morel farms grow them. Is they just throw culture out there and they give them the optimal environment to grow in wild. But morels, chanterelles, and obviously truffles, those are the three most prized fungi.
Yeah. I think it was a little farther north, like probably up towards Washington or something. I think I saw a show like that. They're like out in the forest and that.
Oh yeah. That's where one of my former heroes lives is Paul Stamets. He's the mushroom king.
Oh yeah. What about the girl in America who replied to a sweet tweet saying, "Why? Let's see. Do we need farmers when they can go to the supermarket for food?" I saw it on Facebook. Yeah, some people.
Oh, that's
don't
so funny.
understand. Go ahead.
Me and my buddy were talking about that today, and we saw this. I think it was just a meme, but a mom was asking this kid where he thinks beef comes from, or where meat comes from, and he said McDonald's. And he's all, no, it comes from a cow. He's all, no, it's a McDonald's cow. Literally didn't know where meat came from. I guess they eat so much fast food that they don't know beef comes from a cow. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. I was watching something. I don't know what they were like in school somewhere. Was showing kids like different like fruit and things like a grape. Some didn't know what a grape was. They never saw a grape. They knew what grape jelly was.
What?
And grape Kool-Aid, but they were like, what is that? It's like, wow.
Not a real grape.
Let's see. People are ridiculous. My 7-year-old is known. Let's see where our critters are going when we got them. Okay, so hence the reason we named them pigs, ham, and pork chop. Named them ham hock.
Yeah, that's like my chickens. It's roast chicken, braised chicken, baked chicken, chicken nuggets, chicken salad, and one is named Brownie.
Yeah, that's what my wife went over and named them all like like Pepper and I forgot all the different names. Spike. She named like names and they became pets.
Right.
Yeah, so you got to know right off the bat, what's going on. Let's see. You may want to look into Paul a bit more. He's very intelligent, but ultimately he's pushing his products. Yeah, a lot of people. That's kind of what we were talking about before. Is that after it gets to some point, people. It's like me on this channel. I'm selling like those downspouts, because some people can't make them, and some people don't have the time. But and it helps my channel out. So I don't come on. I think this is like this month because this is happening. I've got time to do that now. To make some. Before I was doing my full-time job, so I didn't really push it. It was there, it was available, and it helped my channel a little bit. But then when everybody's like stay at home, I'm like, well, now I got some time to make it, so I go ahead and put it out there. But making a little bit of money is all right. But if they're just totally like coming on there, just pushing product all the time, then it gets a little commercialized.
Right. Yeah, and as far as Paul Stamets, yeah, he got big, and he is pushing his products. But a lot of the books he wrote, they're almost the textbooks of growing mushrooms when it comes down to it. So his knowledge is very vast in that area. But now, yeah, I do agree with them. Paul is just pushing his products at this point.
Yeah, there's now who was he the one did the Back to Eden thing too, or was that someone else?
No, talking about Paul Stamets. He wrote the book Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms.
Okay. All right, so that's what he's talking about. Yeah, we were talking about like up in Washington and everything, and
Yeah.
Let's see. I got some charred kale, lettuce, cilantro starts. Awesome. And after I watched your last live video,
Nice.
Bought some seeds, and I've been saving up my juice containers. Awesome. Cool deal, James. I love hearing people starting and giving stuff a try.
I love just hearing people doing anything.
Yeah. I put a photo of my fresh eggs on Facebook, and they had a bit of poop on and straw on them. My northern hemisphere, like gross. There's, when it's fresh, when you're going to get fresh eggs, there's always stuff on them.
Right, and see, that's the funny thing. What people don't know is that, like, when a chicken lays an egg, it has a protective coating on it. And if you do not wash that off, your eggs will store in the fridge for months, literally 2, 3, sometimes even 4 months, sometimes even 6 months in all actuality. But in the grocery stores, they wash that off. And that's why they only last so long. But they wash them off, so you have to buy more.
Right. Yeah, some people didn't know that. I knew some people just started like a hobby, like getting chickens and that. And as soon as they got the eggs, it was like washing them, scrubbing them and that, putting them up. I want to be able to stack goats.
And then they spoil faster.
Yep. Cool deal. Let me know how that goes, James.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a chance of science has ever been able to prove or disprove. I think I missed what that one was about.
Yeah, me too.
Back. Got to figure out how you're using the pool noodles for, whatever you need, just DM me, James. We'll talk about that. If you aren't following me like on Twitter, I think I check like Twitter like every day. YouTube's kind of hard. It's like as far as like communicating with people, like you can put up a video or we'll have a live and they come back. But it's hard to like go back to old videos and catch them all. And, you're like sitting there all day, trying to find where people are, you can go into your analytics and try to get comments you haven't answered. But on Twitter, I'm on there and like a notification pop up and, you can just tweet at something or DM me and I'm usually on there like every day. It's great, James. The easiest things I grow are tomatoes, silver beet, radish, lettuce, pumpkins, spuds. Yep. Just throw them in the seed and the seed pops up. Yeah. The radish is pretty cool too.
Potatoes and onions are probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're the best, Mike. You have so much. You're allowed to sell a little. Cool. Appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I've been, like I said, I try to over deliver. we've been on here like 3 years, showing people how to do stuff. And I have like a little ebook. I sell that once in a while, but I feel like instead of, there's a lot of channels where they just ask for like super chats or buy my merch or something, and I'd rather give somebody some kind of value instead of like having a donation cup up or a tip jar. Or you've seen all the different things they've got out there right now. Some people, they help me out. They buy a little ebook and they get something in return. But everything that's in there is on my YouTube channel. And even though I like sell a downspout, you can go on my YouTube channel and show you how to build one. It's not like there's any secrets. So, all your knowledge is out there. People who want to take the initiative and do it themselves, it's out there. And then the people who don't, you have it available. So if you just try to help out as many people as you can, and like I said, and you try to go as long as you can without starting to seem like, commercialized or anything, but, anything that comes in helps you as you get going. You'll find that to get the quality of your videos or anything a little better, it's going to take, you're going to have to maybe buy a better camera, or you're going to have to get a better, some editing software or something. So any little bit that comes in kind of helps with all of that.
Right.
I used to be a professor at HACU. Oh, cool. Awesome. Did not know that. Yeah. I have a huge library of fungi and wild medicinal edibles. Nice.
Nice. I do for the area, not for the nation, because there's too many mushrooms.
Yeah. I heard unwashed eggs can even store at room temperature for a couple of weeks. I don't know about, will they store at room temperature that long? Cool.
Yeah.
We never even boil eggs. Less than 3 weeks old, almost impossible to peel. Just found your channel. Been
This is
watching
true.
it. Yeah. Cool. Appreciate it. And Chris over here, it's getting a little dark. Chris over there, his links down.
Yeah, it is getting dark.
Below. So yeah, I'll be letting you go. What are we? Oh, we're almost on 2 hours here, Chris.
Damn.
You'll be getting a little
Lost track of time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fun. That's what's going to be happening when you start doing these lives too. I saw your first one you did. You were on for an hour, like your first live stream.
Yeah.
So,
And it was crazy because it just flowed, and I literally thought we were only on for 10 minutes. And I looked at the timer, and I'm like, "Holy crap, we've been on for an hour."
yeah. So yeah, all right, guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up. Let Chris go ahead and get on in. I'm sure you've got stuff to do before like totally gets dark out there. Pocatello and Hole in
Yeah,
one.
I got to fully button up the greenhouse.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, Chris, I'm going to say, go ahead and let you go. I'm really appreciate you coming on. I had fun meeting you. Like I love Gary Vee. My other channel is actually called The Lottery of Life. It's about like applying Gary Vee techniques and everything. And we'll talk
Sweet,
about
I'll
that.
go check that out too. Yeah,
cool. And if you got any questions, like I said, when I have somebody on and it isn't like a one-off interview and then you're gone and I try to interview another, trying to get like the next best YouTuber or whatever, I like making a connection.
Right.
And, whenever you want to pop on another live, we'll do one. And when you start doing them too, if you want me to come on just to like test and just to shoot shit with you a little while
Sure.
while you're doing it. And so you can go through the motions of pulling somebody on, pulling comments up.
Right.
And, so you want to practice like that, just let me know. If I got an hour or 2 hours one day, I'll be happy to come on there and just yak with you.
Yeah, I'd love to do this more often. This was great.
Cool. It's a great first start. Great start. You got a
Definitely
bright future ahead of you. I'm sure there's a lot of people are going to be interested in watching what you got to do out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right,
I hope
cool.
they do.
Appreciate everybody in chat. Love y'all. Thanks for coming in. Live to inspire and keep on growing. We'll catch you later. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Let me end this.